Hi, guys. Welcome back to Bar Exam. I'm your host, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew. We got Eric G in the building. What's up, Eric?
What's good? What's good?
What's up? And then we also have Shane G in the building, subbing in for Mr. Marcus. How you feeling, Shane?
No, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Clapping up for Allie's clear camera. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
finally.
Ain't coming through clear. Let's go.
The camera has been giving us hell, y'all. Okay, so let's hope that it stays. But all right, guys. So this week, coming before the bar, we're discussing the arrest of Lil Durk for his alleged role in a murder for hire plot against Quando Rondo. Okay, so 2024 has been crazy when it comes to these arrests. I don't think that anybody really expected this one from Lil Durk. So it's definitely a bit of a shock for some people. Now, some fans are saying that like they feel like they noticed a lot of him subbing supposed crimes in his lyrics. So we'll get to that in a second, see if we can align some things for you. But just to give you guys a little bit of context, on October 24th, 2024, Lil Durk was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Florida because he's facing serious charges of an alleged murder for hire plot against Quando Rondo. So apparently, in August 2022, in Los Angeles, Quando Rondo and his entourage were like at a gas station in Beverly Hills. And once they got out, assailants popped out as well and started shooting at them. So Quando Rondo sustained minor injuries, but his cousin, Lil Pub, was fatally shot. So that started a whole domino. Well, actually, honestly, it really started with King Von. Supposedly, like Quando Rondo and him like ran into each other around 2022 at a nightclub outside. King Von started fighting him, and then apparently one of Quando's people hopped out of their car and shot King Von, and he ended up passing away from those injuries. So I guess that's really truly the beginning of this, but it this whole situation with Quando getting shot at the gas station didn't make things any better. So supposedly, reports indicate that several members of Durk's music collective, Only the Family, or OTF, supposedly it's around like 5 of them so far, have been implicated in the investigation. And basically they feel like, this was a whole, a retaliation for what happened to King Von. As of now, Durk is being held without bond in Broward County Correctional Facility. Apparently, he had booked tickets to Switzerland and Dubai, and then even had a jet ready for him in Miami. But he didn't end up getting to he didn't actually get on the flights for Dubai or Switzerland. But he had every intention of getting on the jet to go to Italy, but they stopped him beforehand. So it's crazy because just like a week ago, he got the keys to one of the villages in Chicago. It was like his second time getting the keys. So it really
Right
did
back.
seem as, huh?
I said they took him right back. They said, we're actually going to go ahead and rescind this offer, and um, we're going to cancel our partnership with his charity.
Yeah, his nonprofit Neighborhood Heroes or something like that.
Yeah.
So he definitely, and then even like we also know like he had that song with J. Cole, and it seemed like he was trying to clear up the image. So I'm sure that like the nonprofit was a part of that whole thing.
Mhm.
But apparently it just wasn't enough. So right
Well,
now,
actually, you know what? I think two things can be true at the same time. I think he could really be want to actually give back and really want to do better for the people coming up in his community and stuff like that. But at the same time, be vengeful and want to get at the dudes who he feels are responsible for taking his homie out. I think both things can be true.
okay. I mean, you're
I
definitely
agree.
giving him some. Yeah, I feel like you're giving him more credit than what the internet is giving him right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
But now the whole thing, like, so the whole the I guess like the way that they're trying to link this to Dirk is that they're saying that he allegedly paid for all of this. So not that he was actually there during the incident at all, but that he had like hit up people in his network, and apparently he said that he would pay a bounty to anyone who killed Rondo or give them a reward of a lucrative OTF music opportunity. So basically, like, if you guys do this for me, then I'll put you on, I'll get you into the music game, give you a deal. And then I guess, like, 2 years later, basically the incident happened in LA. Now, what's crazy to me is that they have, like, the feds have so much information about this already that it kind of makes me feel as though, like, there had to be an informant that was amongst everybody, because, like, they literally have text messages of Durk saying, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." And then apparently the members of OTF, so they decided to, like, then hire people from other gangs, like two guys from other gangs, and pay for everything to get them flown out to San Diego. And then from San Diego, they were going to drive. They drove up to Los Angeles to do this. But my whole thing is like they did the whole part of, like, getting people who were not connected to him, but then they used credit cards that were connected to him. So I'm just like, like, nobody was really thinking. And it's crazy because it's like this incident happened 2 years later, so they did have plenty of time to figure this out. But apparently,
yeah, I mean, it seems like also this seems to be a pattern with Durk, unfortunately, where
Yeah.
it's like when he gets caught or when he's arrested for, some sort of street activity, basically like the situation in Atlanta with him and Vaughn, where, they shot at some rival gang members, right? It was some rivals from Chicago, but they saw them in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there was, a shootout that happened or whatever in front of a hotel. Whole thing was on camera, all of this stuff, right? So, and they were going to put all of it on Vaughn, actually, but then Vaughn ended up passing away. So, but Durk was with them. So it's like, and from my understanding, they used a car that would have been easily traced back to Durk. You know what I'm saying? Like a rental or, something like that, or one of his vehicles, because I'm pretty sure he was living in Atlanta at this point. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, Durk hasn't lived in Chicago in a little bit. So it's like, he sort of has a history of doing things that are easily traced right back to him, it feels like. So that's unfortunate if you're going to be a criminal. You know what I mean? Like,
for real.
I think my thing about it is also because of where it went down at. Like, that's not like, we went down in Vegas, right?
what?
If I'm not mistaken, that's where the shooting happened for Quando Rondo.
No, it happened in Los Angeles, like near, like, the Beverly Center.
Oh, okay, okay. So my bad, Los Angeles. So still, even with that,
Even
like,
worse.
it being in, I was gonna say that's almost worse. It being in Los Angeles, like, that's not a very smart area to try to get away with that level of activity, because we all know how the gun laws are looked at in LA. So the fact that you are trying to pull that move off there is like, that's already not a good sign in and of itself.
Especially like near like in Beverly Hills, especially because it's like that's where all the rich people are, the tourists are. So of course the feds had to look into this. Like, I'm sure local PD did, but once you cross into, like, a heavily populated area with a lot of rich people, oh yeah, you're screwed. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. And, like, apparently they followed Rondo and his crew, like, the entire day. So, I mean, there were other places that they could have done this at.
Yeah,
I guess they just thought this was the best opportunity to do it at the gas station. I don't freaking know. But yeah, either way, kind of a dumb move all around. And then what just, like, I told you guys already, like, kind of like just stood out to me was just, like, the audacity to still use credit cards from OTF, to have a whole lot of text messages between everybody talking about, like, they were heading to the airport. Like, I think they're just
that's
also
the thing for me too. Like, with the amount of rappers who are always rapping about how the feds are looking and I don't do that, they all rap about it. So it's like, if you're actually doing street shit to where the feds could be really looking at you, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, why would
you be that open and dumb about it?
Like, sending text messages is crazy in 2010 and later, like we knew, like anybody can look at your text messages. They're never deleted. Anything you ever post online is there forever. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what you think, nothing's ever deleted. Like we knew this a long time ago. So that's kind of the crazy part to me is the fact that they're still making phone calls and having your cell phone on you when you're going and making shootings and shit or doing, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're out actually doing shootings, like why would you have your phone on you? You know they can easily find your location based on where that phone is at. Like there's so much that they just didn't think about at all before. Either that or they just really didn't care. They was really that diehard for, you know what, we gonna get this nigga because King Von would still be alive if it wasn't for this nigga, so we don't care the consequence. That could be it. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of feels like that, almost.
Yeah,
for them, you know what I mean? But I doubt it also because it's like then there's the dude wearing a wire. You know what I'm saying? OTF Jam.
That's what everyone was saying. They were saying like it was confusing because online they were saying that Durk held Jam down. I guess that there was already like an attempted murder case that they put on Jam, and he was okay. I guess he didn't talk about it at all. He did his time. I think he did like 12 years. He came out. I guess Vaughn gave him a whole bunch of money, like cars, all types of stuff. And so I would have thought like, okay, they were good, but then now everybody online is saying that actually Jam was the one who's wearing a wire the entire time.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. And I mean, it could easily be a situation where it's like maybe he was going to get more than that 12, and part of him getting released early. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if it's for a shooting or a murder or something like that, you know what I mean? You're looking at 15 to 20 in most places, you know what I'm saying? Or 25 to life, or you know what I mean? But you're looking at significant time. Like to get out in 12 is like, that's like a manslaughter charge. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, maybe you didn't mean to kill the person, but your actions caused their death. So you still got to do some time for it, but you're not a killer. You know what I mean? Like, that's manslaughter. So I could see you getting like 8 to 12 for that. But like for a murder, which is what I'm led to, or a shooting or something like that, you know, if you're getting out early, potentially, you know, there might be a reason for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, you work for us. You know what I'm saying? You give us certain information, you get to stay a free man. You know, kids play dirty games. So
that makes more sense though to me, because I was thinking like, why else would you just all of a sudden flip on somebody that you were willing to do the time for? So I guess that.
Or it could be a situation of I already did 12 for you. Now you putting me in some more bullshit. I'm not doing it again. Fuck that. Like it could be that too.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him though, because it is like, damn, Durk, you keep flying real close to the fucking sun, and you don't give a damn. Like, I think it's because like he keeps getting away with it. So I think that he just thought he was untouchable and was like, all right, like, you know, as long as I pay someone else to do it, I should be fine. And no, that is just not the case, especially when you're this sloppy. And then we also, you know, we just mentioned a little bit about like him getting the keys. I cannot believe that he got 2 keys to Chicago. And well, actually, no, I can kind of believe it, because at first I was like, why all of a sudden are they like, you know, giving him the keys to the city? He's definitely a drill rapper, and what he talks about a lot of times in his songs is not like some build up the community type of stuff. So I didn't exactly understand at first, but then I saw like there was this interview with the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, and they were like, the reporters were basically grilling him on campaign money that he received from one of Durk's corporations, or one of his corporations. And so they were saying that he was given $150,000 for his campaign. And they were asking him, like, are you going to donate it to charities, since it's like, you know, it's dirty money now? And he's like, no, like, I'm not going to convict a Black man before he hits trial and all this kind of stuff. And to me, it's just like, okay, so did he really buy the keys to like the villages? I think it was Broadview Village and Bellevue Village in Chicago. Like, I feel like that makes more sense.
Well, my thing is also with that, like, it's not dirty money. He earned that money off of rap. It's not like it's drug money. You know what I'm saying? Like, he earned the money legitimately. So if he wants to donate that money, you know, to a cause that he thinks is good or whatever, like, I don't think there's a reason that the person should have to give it back. Like, because it's not, you know what I mean? It's not cocaine money or no shit like that. Like, he earned it rapping and touring and selling merch and shit. That's all legal. Now what he chooses to do with his rap money might be illegal, like if he allegedly paid these dudes to go kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Now that's, you know what I mean? Now at that point it becomes dirty money because, you know, it was you know, taken by hitmen, you know, so at that point it's dirty money, but to donate it to a charity doesn't make it dirty money. So I think that's a silly argument, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just looks weird though.
Too, though. Like I get it.
Yeah, I feel like it just looks weird for the mayor of Chicago to be given such a large sum of money from a rapper. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, but again, Durk was on what it seemed like a campaign of like trying to clean up the image, trying to do something different. You know, he had a nonprofit.
And like, do we look at it like that? Not to drive the conversation too far left, but if Kanye gives that same amount of money to the mayor of Chicago, do we look at it funny? Or do we go, oh, that's what's up? That's good that Kanye did that. You know what I'm saying? Is it because it's dirt specifically that it's like, not shady? You know what I
mean? Yeah, I mean, because he's also like just the stuff that he says in his lyrics, and we can get into it now because you already know, guys, we are bar exam, so we're definitely going to get into some of these lyrics to see if we can match some stuff up. But I just feel as though like it just looks weird because you're a drill rapper, and I will say that drill rap has put Chicago more on like, you know, more in the mainstream, more talked about, you know, when it comes to the music scene. But I also feel like they've also created a lot of tension between the community, and you know, there's definitely like when it comes to like drill rap, it's kind of synonymous with violence. So that's why I'm a little bit like, but I get it. Like politicians are going to take money from anybody. Like that's just really what it is. Is like if anybody drops off $150,000, are you really going to sit there and say no? Are you going to be like, well, you know, he's not the most upstanding citizen? Like, no, more than likely you're just going to be like, shit, I need money for this campaign.
Let me go on and
let me go on and get that out, you player.
Exactly. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, okay. So we got to get into some of these lyrics because the internet is saying that like Durk has been alluding to his crimes for a long time, and I guess like you just had to really pay attention. So for me, the song that I had that was brought up to mind for me had to be "Who Wants Smoke" with Nardo Wick. So I guess they did a remix of Nardo Wick's song, and so Durk jumped on it, and he definitely, like from gate, he definitely starts talking about the whole situation with Vaughn. So in verse 2, he says, "They be on my page like slide for Vaughn. I know they trolling me. Outside with y'all big homie, be on. I keep them folks with me. Got it back in blood. Y'all just don't know. That's how it's supposed to be. Called him for the feature just to kill him because we know he's sweet." Like, wow. So I'm guessing that this has to do with the situation of them pulling up on Quando Rondo. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's definitely what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's definitely what they're saying. Yeah, I mean, because that was kind of the whole thing, right? Like me and Eric, we were looking at a clip earlier of 6ix9ine when he first got out of jail, and he was like trolling Durk, basically, and he was like, slide for Vaughn, y'all all. He was like, King Von said if he ever dies, all his homies gonna slide for him. That's cap. None of y'all doing nothing, right? So that's what kind of started the narrative online. And then, you know, in a lot of Instagram posts and tweets and stuff like that, hashtag slide for Vaughn started popping up under all Lil Durk shit. So you could take it as this is just some rapper shit, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we already slid, y'all just don't know, you know what I mean? And you're not supposed to know because of street shit or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, you know, you could just be saying some shit. But it lines up with a few other things that happened around that same time that Lil Pop died. You know what I mean? Where certain people on the internet were saying things like, oh, well, they don't say slide for Vaughn no more and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to say it's connected, but it would not surprise me if that were the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same. And I mean, even like further down in the rap, like he's talking about emergency room going always lie to y'all whenever a nigga die, saying a nigga stable as they check just to keep y'all quiet. Like, so yeah, he definitely is alluding to like, you know, someone, you know, that he did try to slide. Somebody did get killed. And that like y'all just don't know the half of it because you're not, you know, you're not privy to it. But I guess he is alluding to it, which is crazy. Um, Oh, yeah, and then he even says, "Oh, I forgot one other very important line." He says, "Better do what Nardo said, because niggas die for pumping gas." So that's how it's like, all right, nigga, this was at the gas station. Like, yeah, we know it was you. So I bet the feds were just like, "You gotta
And
be
that's
fucking kidding
clever.
me!" Like,
And
it's
that's
so
clever
obvious.
from a lyrical perspective because Nardo Wick says in the first verse, um, that he keeps his gun when he's pumping gas. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Mm,
just playing off of that lyric is, you know, niggas die for pumping gas. You know what I'm saying? So it's a play off of that lyric, but also alludes to, you know, potentially a real situation. So
yeah, yeah.
It's
I
one
mean,
of
I guess.
those it's one of those things where you realize with the Chicago drill scene just like how coded but like also not coded a lot of it is. Like you said something to the effect earlier, Ali, where you said like it was always kind of subtly there in the music. I agree with you, but there's also just instances where like you just reading certain things that he said that it's just like come on now. Like the coincidence is now running too high. Like for me, I had Back in Blood, and I think him even being on that song on a song called that is a little telling a little bit. But he
right,
starts
it's a little
off,
crazy.
you know what I mean? Like it's a little crazy. And then he starts off the verse, killed your mans, you keep on talking, better get that shit, better get that shit in blood. Give my shorty and them a dub, then they gonna walk inside this club. Hit his little ass with that switch. I bet that switch up his nerves. Fuck the ops inside my city, little bro. Put them in the mud. You can't come back. You can't come up out your hood, huh? He was dissing on my cousin. Now his ass all in that wood, huh? Like obviously that's the classic line that everybody knows from that. But it's just like you just putting certain shit in the lyrics where it's like, come on, bro. Like you gotta move a little smarter than that if that is what you want to do. But then it's also funny because then to switch it up into like Mr. Peace all my life Durk like not too long after that. It's just the timing of it is funny to me because it was just like, all right, like I see what you're trying to do, bro, but like you at the same time, you're still throwing these subliminals in the music. Like you gotta pick a side at that point.
You know what though? I disagree with that, and here's why. Here's why I
Why?
disagree. You got to pick a side because historically in hip hop, especially if you came up in the '90s, like that's how rappers were. You know what I mean? Like, look at Tupac, for example, one of the most beloved rappers of all time, right? He had Ain't Nothing But a Gangster Party was one of his biggest hits. Brenda's Got a Baby's one of his biggest hits. Dear Mama's one of his biggest hits. How Do You Want It's one of his biggest hits. You know what I'm saying? These are all over the spectrum. How Do You Want It is a straight club misogynistic sex record. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Like it's a banger, but that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Then Dear Mama, the exact opposite of that. I'm honoring this black queen, you know what I'm saying? Because she went through the struggle and still raised me and yada yada. Brenda's Got a Baby, you know, the struggling woman or the struggling teenager, you know what I'm saying? And he's telling her story of like how her life is going to end up going down this bad path and all of this based on, you know, this one thing that happened when she was a teenager. Now she's got a baby and etc. Right. And then Ain't Nothing But a Gangster Party where he's celebrating blood and cripping in LA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is all one person though we're talking about. You know what I mean? And then Jadakiss. If you think the name Jadakiss, most of the time is going to be street shit, and you know what I'm saying. That's the vibe you're thinking. But his biggest hit was Why, which was a very introspective, you know what I'm saying, conscious, socially type record. You know what I'm saying? And then like So DMX, another example, his whole record would be just full of violence, like from track 1 to track 17, straight murder, kill, robbery. I'm expressing my pain, and you know what I'm saying, that type shit. And then track 18 would be a prayer, and track 19 would be like a gospel rap record. Unlike his first 3-4 albums he did. So you know what I mean. That's
Yeah.
why I'm willing to give Durk a pass on that, just because rappers have different sides of themselves. Nobody's just one person, and they're allowed to express how they feel on different days in music. On some days they might want to slap a nigga, and on other days they might want to save a nigga. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
No,
fair
I see.
point.
Okay, I see what you mean. I got it. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so we shared two of the songs that we feel as though kind of started to point us down, like, you know, this direction.
Yeah.
What about you, Shane? What do you think? Was there a song that's
No, I'm gonna go the opposite direction, and I picked All My Life. So, these bars in particular that I decided I had to finish, but the media called me a menace. I done sat down with the mayor and politicians. I'm trying to change the image. You can't blame my past no more. I come from the trenches. Some said I'd never be a superstar, but I know I'm different. Like, to me, that's kind of what we were just alluding to, where he was trying to, you know, he was doing the nonprofit organization, and he's meeting with politicians, and he's getting keys to the city, and you know, he's embracing his Islam a lot more publicly. You know what I mean? Like, he's a Muslim. A lot of people don't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't just get that from early Durk work. You know what I'm saying? But a lot more recently, he's been kind of embracing that side. And it's like, again, do I think two things can be true? Yes. Do I think that he knows that doing this kind of stuff potentially makes him look better in the court's eyes or in the eyes of the law? Like, nah, this guy wouldn't, you know, hire somebody to kill people because look at all this positive stuff he's doing. Like, do I think there's an element of that there? Of course. You know what I mean? But I think everybody does that to a degree. Like, I think all celebrities who participate in charities, or all wealthy people who participate in charities to a degree, like, a part of them is doing it because it looks good. Like, yeah, their heart might also be in the right place, but they're also like, this is good PR, so I'm going to do this. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, there's an element of PR there. But do I think he really wants to give back and make Chicago a better place? Like, probably, yeah. You know what I mean? Most people who come from a bad place do want that place to get better because they still got family there and stuff like that. They don't want their family to have to, and you can't take care of everybody. So what you can do is try to make that environment a little bit better for the people you can't pull out. You know what I mean? So I agree that I think he is well intentioned and actually sincere in those in that effort. But at the same time, he's still, you know, a gang dude from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that side of you is there too. And if you have the means and the opportunity to get back at your enemies, especially from across country and different stuff like that, because now you're making enemies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Quando Rondo's gang doesn't beef with Lil Durk's gang. Like, that's a personal issue that sparked off between, you know, King Von and Quando. So because that happened, it sort of became a gang thing, but it's still not really a gang thing. You know what I mean? It's not like Crips in Texas got to worry about BDs if they run into them. Like, that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not on that level, but they became enemies though. So it's like you treat all enemies the same for the most part. You know what I mean? Especially if you really like that, then it's like, all right, well, when I see you, whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where we at. And apparently that was the approach they took, you know. So I think two things can be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that you got a point. I just am totally shocked at, like, that this is like, what, how many rappers this year have gotten arrested? I mean, I guess Diddy is a producer and an artist and a CEO of a whole lot of companies. So I mean, I don't know if he exactly falls under that rapper category, but it's just crazy to see so many prominent, you know, black, I don't know, like prominent black men get arrested for some really crazy crimes. And they're saying that this whole situation with Durk, even though right now it's a murder for hire case, I guess they're saying that it's going to turn into a RICO. Like that's what they're thinking because there's just so many people connected to this. There's so much money.
I mean, I don't know if it makes sense to do a RICO at this point because Durk would be the guy. So it's like usually you do a RICO because there's no evidence on the guy. So you need everyone else who's under the guy essentially to cooperate or fold in some type of way. So that way you get to the guy. That's pretty much
Yeah.
that's why RICOs exist. You know what I mean? So it's like the fact that they got Durk, they essentially caught him red-handed if there's wiretaps and recordings and texts and shit like that. I wouldn't even see the need for a RICO at that point because we got him. You know what I'm saying? We got our guy. So
they already have the evidence and everything on him. So
yeah, they got everything. So, but this is what I wanted to bring up though, really quick, Allie, because we were I was listening to something else earlier, and they got a list. So this is 26 rappers who are currently in jail. So of course we got Young Thug. He's been in there since May 9th, 2022. We got Tory Lanez. He's been in there since December 2022. We got Fetty Wap. He's been in there since October 2021. We got
I did not know Fetty Wap was locked up.
YNW Melly, February 2019. Blueface since January of 2024. Glock 9 since October 2020. Sue Surf since October 2022. Casanova 2 times since December 2020. Mystical since July 2022. I haven't heard of this dude. This is a woman. Wild. OMB Bloodbath, February 2020. Kid Creole, August 2017. Pooh Shiesty, June 2021. Another YSL dude. I've never known how to pronounce this guy's name, but like Funk, May 23rd. C Murder, August 2020 or August 2009. Tay June 2017. Big Lurch, April of 2002. Fujiano, March 2021. K Flock, December 2021. Max B, September 2009. KR, September 2018. Lil G, September 2019. AR Ab, October 2018. YFN Lucci, January 2021. FTO Set, February 2024. Diddy, September 2024. Honeycomb Brazy, December 2023. All them dudes are locked up right now.
There's 2 other rappers that are on that list that they didn't mention.
Who's that?
Pee Wee Longway and Hood Rich Pablo 1.
And Hood Rich Pablo 1. Yep. So that's 28. 28 right there. And I didn't even know like some of those names, but they're big enough to be in XXL. So
right.
Or somebody.
That's insane. I mean, at first, I can't lie, I was starting to kind of
42 Durk. Sorry.
42 40, I think he's free. I think he's already
out. Is he out? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's out.
Okay.
Rio. Yeah, Rio's still locked up.
Yep. Go ahead, Allie.
Well, I kind of, at first, like I saw a lot of people on their internet speculating that this is like a witch hunt for rappers, that apparently like the government or I don't know, the criminal justice system just doesn't want to see rappers win. They feel as though like, you know, they're trying to do a sweep of everybody. And at first I kind of was like, maybe they're right. Like, who knows? But at the same time, I'm like, it depends on like what your charge is. Like some of them, like if you're doing murder for hire and like you actually did murder somebody, it's like, and then they got you red-handed with all the text messages, the phone conversations. It's like, I don't know if I can seriously sit here and like say it's because you're a rapper and, you know, you're a symbol of Black excellence and they're trying to bring you down. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's hard.
I don't believe in that most of the time. I'm gonna keep it real. Most of the time, I think powerful people are arrogant. That's what I think. I think people who have a lot of power and a lot of money are arrogant, and if they already have certain tendencies to, abuse people or be violent or, you know, steal or snake people or anything like that, any negative trait that you could really attribute to somebody, I feel like they just it exacerbates it the more money and power that you have because there's less people that can check you, and you're in a position to be like, well, what are you going to do about it, basically? You know what I mean? So like if that's already how you are, and now you have a way to facilitate that even more, you're going to do it. You know what I mean? So I think it's more of a money and power thing than it is oh, they're trying to hunt black people thing, because basically anybody in, maybe not in music per se, but like pretty much there are counterparts to all of this shit in white America. You know what I'm saying? Like they may not be famous rappers, but the same shit is happening somewhere in white America. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think it's a racial thing. I think it's more of it just happens to be hip hop in our situation because a lot of these dudes are from the streets, like, and they really do have gang ties, and they really, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're really from that, and you were actively participating in certain things, and you were, as everybody says, you was really outside. Like if you're really one of them, it's harder, I think, to separate yourself from it when you get on. You know what I mean? Because you were hands on. It's different than just being around. You know what I mean? Like if you're just around it and you're trying to escape it and music worked out for you and all, that makes sense. You know what I mean? But like if you were one of the ones putting in pain and then you make it, it's a little different because people are still like actively after you. You know what I mean? Because you might have killed their brother or shot their cousin or whatever, and they know you did it. You know what I'm saying? And now you're famous. Now I got to see you everywhere. Nah, we got to, you know what I mean? Like, so I understand it from that element a little bit more. Like, from what it seems like, Durk was a little bit more on that side than he was the there's the Jay-Z and the Nas approach. You know what I mean? Nas is the storyteller. He was the guy who was in the hood who could tell you all the stories about what was going on in the hood, but he wasn't necessarily, he wasn't out there shooting people and doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Whereas Jay-Z, he was a little bit more close to what he was talking about. You know what I mean? He might have exaggerated some things here and there, but for the most part, he was telling his story, not everyone else's around him. So I think that's the approach, really, like that, that we kind of see with the drill music, especially. It's a lot more of the Jay-Z approach, but instead of the past, it's like, I'm doing it right now type shit. And Durk's, especially in your bars, Ali, like that really points that out to me. Like that shit just happened, bro. Like, and you're rapping about it on a single that has tens of millions of views on YouTube. Like that's nuts.
For real. I'm always like,
that's that arrogance that comes from power, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially from somebody who's always talking about the feds watching and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, what?
That shit is wild. Like,
what were you thinking?
It's also the part, like y'all said earlier, the getting away with it over and over again. If you get away with it, then at that point,
is you think you're getting away with it over and over again, but really they're racking up, and it sounds fucked up, but they'll let you kill multiple times just to build a case against you and be like, no, you've killed 4 people, so that's why we got to lock you up for life. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'll let you do what you got to do in order to. What's the phrase? They'll give you enough rope to let you hang yourself. That's what they do.
Yes, exactly. Now, I also wanted to ask you guys about like, can we blame the culture a little bit on this? And what I mean by that is what I noticed a lot of people were saying in like the comment section was, well, all of you guys were saying before, like these rappers just talk about it. They're not about that life. They're not really affiliated. But now, you got a lot of rappers who are showing you that they're about that life. And now all of you guys are shocked or you're upset. You feel like they're not good role models. So they're like, they're trying to say that like the fans created these monsters, quote unquote. Do you guys feel as though there's actually some truth to that?
I think there is something to be said about rabid fan bases, especially in rap. Like we see it all the time, whether it's from like the crazy like Uzi and Cardi fans that are like super like hyper fixated on whatever they're doing, and like the Kanye type stands. Like we've seen it with people like that. I just think it's a little bit different here because there's so much of a street element to it, but there's so much info that the fans know just by following along certain shit, whether it's how they conduct themselves when they're sitting down in interviews, whether it's the subliminal shit that they still put in their music. Like the fans aren't stupid. So I think they follow along a lot closer to a lot of this shit than we think. So it's not as surprising to me when something like this does end up breaking open and they do end up arresting him. It's also because like we have also trained ourselves to be able to be like, no, if I know if we can hear that shit, then the feds are listening to that shit in a whole different space. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we like we should be blamed for it, but at the same time they're putting it out there for us to keep consuming. So it's like we do kind of have to take a little bit of the blame for it, because us as the fans, sometimes we get into that stand mode of always trying to like push the agenda of whatever we want to happen. And because of that, I think a lot of times we don't understand that the power that we have as a fan, where you can see on like Twitter or Instagram or just any social media really, you can see when the narrative starts to flip, and that's when usually the artist reacts. When the narrative is flipped so much that they can't even keep up with the truth at that point, that's when you start to see the reactions and see them try to defend against it and shit like that. And I just think really if fans want to kind of chill out on that shit a little bit, I think it'll stop a lot of those narratives from being pushed in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
I think it depends on a couple of different things, right? So for one, I think younger artists tend to have younger fan bases, and younger people, I think, are almost looking at this like it's a video game, like to a degree. Like it's like they forget that these are human beings and that these are real people who are having real emotions and are losing real friends and family members and stuff like that. You know, it's not, it just seems so abstract. It's almost like when you hear about a bombing that happens on the other side of the world. It's like, yeah, you understand, like, yeah, hundreds or thousands of people just got affected by that, but like we didn't feel it for real until September 11th. Then it was like, oh shit, like that's what that feels like. Damn, like, you know what I mean? So it's almost like one of those things where I feel like the fans kind of just forget that these are people. You know, they're not just rappers or just celebrities. They're human beings. You know, so I think there's an element of that to it. Which is why you see them encouraging them to slide for Vine. Like, think about what that really means. Sliding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Slide for Vine. You're telling Lil Durk, go out there and kill somebody, go commit a murder because your friend just got murdered. Like, that's what that means. Like, if you really break it down. You know what I'm saying? You're asking somebody to go out and commit a murder for your entertainment. That's what you're asking. You know what I mean? Because you don't know either of these people for real. You don't know King Von. You don't know Lil Durk. You don't know Quando. You know what I'm saying? You don't know NBA YoungBoy. You don't know anybody involved with this whole beef. So it's like you're asking for people to kill each other for your entertainment. Like literally, that's what you're asking. So that's why I say that I think that there's an element of people who just forget that these are people. You know, so I think that that's there. But then also, I think it's because it's rappers that's involved with it. So, in the sense of King Von got killed not by some ops in Chicago just fucking around in the streets. You know what I'm saying? He got killed because he pressed another rapper, Quando Rondo, and his man's killed him, Lil Tim. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because there's two rappers involved, it's like we know who the quote unquote enemy is if you're a King Von fan or a Lil Durk fan. Or we can point to him. It's Quando Rondo. We know he's the op. So there's a
Yup.
face to it. Nobody put that pressure on YG when Slim 400 got killed. They're from the same hood. They rap about the same type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, if one of my homies gets killed, I'm sliding for him and blah, blah, blah. They say all the same shit in their music. You know what I mean? They rep their flag and all of that, right? But nobody put pressure on YG to be like, yo, go slide for Slim 400. Why? Because we don't know who killed Slim. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know who that person is. That's just some dude from the streets. We have no idea. So it's a totally different reaction. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see it when, you know, like even in the takeoff situation, nobody's saying that to Quavo. Nobody's saying, Quavo, why you not sliding for takeoff? Nobody's saying that to him. We don't know who killed takeoff. We have no clue. It's just some dude from Texas. That's all, or who was in Texas at the time. We don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we don't know anything. So I think that's kind of the difference. It's like we know all of the parties involved. So it's like, yo, you go do something because we know who it is. Like, go do something to him. You rap about it. You're always talking about how, if you know what I mean. So there's all of that is what I think is what we're seeing.
I think that's
Yeah,
a
I agree.
point. Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, fellas. Well, we'll just have to see what happens with this case and all the other cases that we've been following. But make sure that you guys are following us here on the Ethos Media Network YouTube page for more episodes of Bar Exam. Like the little banner at the bottom of this page says, we have new episodes every single Monday for you guys. And you can also see even more candid conversations that we have on the Ethos Media Network Patreon page. So make sure you guys check that one out. But we will see you guys on the next one. This is Bar Exam. Bye, guys.